everybody's still in South Africa, so I won't say good morning, good evening to wherever you are in the world, but great to have you guys join us for the next 25 minutes or so. So between Sohail and myself, mostly Sohail, we'll be taking you through what we see as that what we call that X factor. It's all about the experience. As many of you would have seen and would have noticed in the markets, it's becoming more and more critical around how do we not lose candidates when we are going through big recruitment drives, whether it's graduate programs, apprentice programs or so, to the competitors. So I think creating a positive experience obviously is important. We wanted to broaden that out a little bit more and not just look at the candidate experience, but also very briefly touch on the recruiter experience as well as the line manager experience. And that's why this session is really to kind of take you through what have we done and what are we doing currently when it comes to that X factor for those stakeholders. There's always more one can do, so it'll be great, from your side as users of assessments, as consumers of those, to share what some of your views are, your plans, your ideas are as well. It's an ever-evolving space, so if one can keep pushing the boundaries, I think that's exactly what it should be. So yeah, thank you very much. Sohail, over to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Ewan. And as Ewan mentioned, we'll cover those three broad areas, and then a bit later in the demo, we'd like to give a practical view of what this can actually look like as well. So we've got some internal brands that we'd like to showcase just as prototypes in terms of what it could look and feel like. So we'll touch on that experience as well. And I know this is the kind of slide that we've seen so many times across the board, but I think it's a very important point to always just kind of touch on in terms of the changes that we see from a context perspective in the world of work. From a pandemic perspective, and as we kind of transition through this new normal kind of stage, and I know that's been used so many times as well, but in terms of people being critical to that business recovery, things like remote work, digital transformation and digitization, and also things like multi-generations being in the workplace at the same time. There's a lot of factors that are changing at the same time. And in order to do that, and as a result of that, there are a lot of things that we need to also change on our end. And just as a practical example, we thought we'd walk you through, almost from a candidate perspective, what we are seeing in terms of that transition. So if you think of a traditional process from a candidate perspective, it would have been researching the company, shortlisting for particular roles that you might be interested based off your qualification or experience, or what your interests are. Applying to those jobs, and then also engaging with some kind of talent expert or recruiter. So very much the analog era of how your candidate would have shown up and the process they would have followed. But in today's world, we're dealing with this casual digital candidate, which is very different. So it's almost that process being flipped around. So first, maybe applying for the job and engaging with the relevant talent expert or recruiter, then moving in terms of researching that company and then shortlisting yourself against particular roles. And with this change, almost getting your candidate enticed at that first interaction becomes even more important. And as this shift happens and we continue to see multiple applicants across various roles at any point in time, some of our research also suggests graduates are applying to 10 plus roles at a time. There's so much movement that happens. And in this space, in order to secure that top talent for your organization, you need to kind of get that person in and get them interested, get their eyebrows raised in terms of that experience you do want to create. And we'll touch on some of those outputs and what that could look like for your brand as well. In terms of the approach we take, it's very much centered around people, science, and technology and building that connection. So working across those three areas in terms of scientific assessments, using the appropriate technologies to assess and then linking that to securing that talent within your organization, or then building that, retaining, developing, etc. And for us, we really want your business to thrive as your people then thrive as well. So our mix really, entails a memorable experience, the relevant technology, like we mentioned, world-class services, and the right insights using science to unlock that potential of your staff and the talent you're trying to get into the organization. In terms of the approach that we take, so we offer and focus on kind of these four main areas in terms of how to secure and develop that talent. Standing out with those experiences, obviously the focus point of today's conversation, but also then built on science, and we'll show you that interplay in terms of how that works. focusing on, fairly assessing, creating equal opportunities, discriminating fairly against others, using our award-winning portfolio of products. In terms of insights and how you can use this data, very much in terms of current and future potential, data-driven insights, etc. And then lastly, in terms of that fourth capability, reducing challenges with our global expert services. So very much how best we can support you and your teams in terms of securing that talent, helping you whether it's at any point in terms of the talent life cycle, from assessing, interviewing, getting the right people into developing as well. And we offer a range of services in that last bucket. As we walk through those, what we want to really focus on is that experience. So whether it's for your candidate, whether it's for the recruiter or talent expert within the organization, or the manager. So those kind of the three big buckets that we'll talk to as we go through this. And for us, when we focus on these from a candidate perspective, we really want to focus on creating that personalized experience, but at scale. So it's almost from a efficiency perspective, you are still able to get through the volumes and the numbers that you might be dealing with. And we know for a lot of organizations that could be in the thousands to tens of thousands of applicants, to also make this accessible, to make this very memorable. So building that brand connectivity, again, almost emphasizing that your customer becomes your potential client, etc. And almost even if someone isn't successful for a role, either you've enabled them in some way on their journey, and they come back as a potential client down the line. So building in that brand advocacy. And then fairness. I think from a candidate perspective, often, in the graduate space, as an example, it might be the first time you're applying for a role. It can be very stressful. You're not sure what to expect. And almost having that perception of fairness also goes a long way in terms of everyone having the same opportunity or required to complete the same tasks, etc. From a recruiter perspective, here we're focusing on things like speed, efficiency, being able to address that talent question as quickly as possible. The ease of use in terms of the platform. Is it intuitive? Does it make sense? Can you get to what you need to in time? That on-demand usage, so being able to interact with what you need as you need it, or anticipating what that need might be. And then also that safety to use. So from can I assess remotely? Am I sure that the person on the other side of the screen is the correct person that I'm trying to assess? Things like proctoring technology, are my candidates cheating, are often questions that might come up as well. And how is the technology supporting that? So from a safe use perspective, the other side as well, the legislative slide, is it fair? Is it reliable? Can you compare candidates? Does it not discriminate, etc.? And then when we focus on the manager side, here we're talking about fluidity, a flexible platform, offering you the insights that you need to make those decisions, and also enabling decision-making, using science and technology, etc. So really, when we talk about the experience, those are the three main areas that we'll touch on. Yeah, and apologies earlier, I didn't mention it, but if you do have a comment or anything you'd like to add, please feel free to switch your camera on, unmute and jump in. We will offer, an opportunity to also ask questions, but if anyone does have anything, if something comes in the chat, please put your hand up, and if you don't mind just monitoring that for me as well. We can then give whoever the opportunity to just ask the question and chip in as well.
We'll do so. Nothing so far. Thanks, Sohail.
Perfect. Thanks, Ian. Also, we've got a couple of slides that talk around this point as well. So from that fairness aspect, from creating that engagement, something that's memorable, our assessments are of course based on a lot of science and research. So if you are interested in anything specific, please pop myself or Ian a message. We'd be very happy to share any of the research articles pertaining to the particular topic you're interested in. But here, big points for us are consistently evaluating and measuring what needs to be measured across multiple levels, and creating an experience that really engages your candidate, entices them, etc. So gone are the days of very static kind of testing, etc., but really moving towards getting the most engagement out of that process, and looking past kind of the CV, etc., to really understanding the individual in a lot of depth and detail. Cool. In terms of that portfolio of assessments, our experience are wrapped around all of these. So whether it's measuring personality on the behavior side, cognitive ability, like the previous slide that you saw in terms of the actual verifiability assessment be completed, or on screen now, like through a video interview, whether it's asynchronous or on-demand or one-way interview versus live interviews or coding simulations. All of these then have an experience built around them. And we can go for either a off-the-shelf kind of solution, so a ready-to-go, up and running, or we can then customize that in relation to maybe a bespoke framework that you have, the right behaviors you are looking for. So there's a lot of flexibility that we also offer. And in our ready-to-go product range, we offer various solutions across different levels, across different industries, etc., like you see on screen. So whether it's roles in hospitality or workplace safety, graduates, contact or retail spaces, professionals and managers and so forth, or technology, we offer prepackaged solutions that meet that need, or we can go on that customized route. And then we really focus on things like potential to succeed, readiness, and also that person job fit as well. In terms of that manager view as well, a big focus for us is proactively identifying high quality talent, but also internal talent. So not missing out on those opportunities for individuals that might be ready for that next role, or advancing their career in terms of the experience that they have, or the aspiration and engagement levels that you see as well. So here we can really focus on giving you insights. And on screen is just a very quick snippet of our Mobilize platform, which is a visualization tool using our talent management assessments. And here you can very quickly see who should you leverage, who is ready for that next move, where they have high fit in terms of what you're looking for, and contextually, what are the challenges within your company, the industry, etc., that is relevant to the level and the role that we are looking at. So moving away from that competency fit, which will always be there, but once you've got that competency fit, it's almost what is the context that they're operating within, what is happening within industry, what is happening within our organization. So if there's something like a merger or acquisition, or there's the bottom line that you need to improve on, or there's new products you are entering, or moving from a particular space like a telco to a techno kind of company, what are those challenges that you are experiencing? And within that context, who are the right people that we need? And this is a very quick and easy, intuitive platform that allows you to capitalize on those opportunities, so you don't lose people who have that potential that might be overlooked otherwise. In terms of some of the insights that we can focus on that are real-time, things on our platform that you can view are things like, as you watch through this GIF, dropout rates, candidate volumes, where they are actually dropping out, the average pass rate or score distributions. You can really focus on a lot of different areas as well. And this is on demand as you need it. It gets updated real time as candidates complete more assessments or drop out of the process, etc. You can then see this across various projects, tags, etc., depending on how you set up your platform. But again, the insights are already available. You just log into the platform, it's up and running, and then you can focus on those areas. And using this type of data, you can then fine-tune, enhance your process, see what you need to change, and based off the volumes that you have as well, start identifying where maybe cutoff scores exist once you have that data perspective. And here we are also able to support on analyzing that information for you, etc. In terms of the experience, and we'll jump to the live demo in a moment, here, regardless of what stage you are in your process, that almost connection that your candidate needs to build to the brand, and again, emphasizing that advocacy that exists, whether it's at invitation stage where you showcase your brand, get them to build that connection, etc., whether it's welcoming them with a specific image or video, it could be internal individuals having a quick session on what they love about working at your company as an example, and showcasing kind of that brand story again, to when it's guiding them through the process, what to expect, how long it's going to take you, what is next in line, etc., and what are the next steps as well, to actually assessing. And you saw a very quick preview of what our interactive range looks like, to providing feedback. So we've got a variety of different options, but one of the key things that we'll talk to in our live demo is the personalization of feedback at scale. And then lastly, enabling them. So once they're in the organization, or even if they're unsuccessful, enabling them on that journey by giving them development feedback, whether it's in the form of a report and or a personalized video feedback, which we'll show you in a moment. You can really make that difference in your candidates and the experience they have, but also then building that connection to your brand post the process. In terms of recruiters and managers as well, so getting the right data in terms of what good looks like, seeing that fit and where the biggest gaps are, things like quickly and easily shortlisting, so having a view of recommendations, merit lists and scores in that format, whether it's interviewing, and again, this can be on demand, asynchronous, or it can be live or with a simulation included, to when you hire, onboard the individual, and then also as an ongoing step, reviewing what you have, where the gaps are and how you can close those gaps, or where you see a massive competitive advantage and how you capitalize on that as well. One of the really big steps for us is also the personalized video feedback. This is available within minutes after your candidate completes assessments as well, and we can then again tailor this to your look and feel and your brand. So this is one of our fictional brands you see on screen called Home Produce. This is actually a snippet of what is available on the platform now, where post completing assessments, they can very quickly and at scale from a client perspective view and give this feedback to your candidates. You'll see it addresses the person by name. There can be an audio that supports this as well, so you can go for just text or with audio as an example. And again, the colors, the look and the feel can all be customized to really speak that brand story in terms of what you want to tell. And you'll see here, this is one of two designs that we have. We also have a circular one. This is the hexagon kind of view. But again, here, it's personalized to that candidate. And because it's available just minutes after completing assessments, you can really then turn your applicants, successful or not, into those brand advocates and give them something back. I think all of us have been in that in-between period where you've applied for a role, you've gone through maybe an assessment process as one of the steps, and you just don't know where you are. Very stressed, you just completed assessments. We all know the feeling of not knowing kind of where you stand or how it went. And this is a nice way to kind of ease off that experience. High stress, getting through that, and then giving something back immediately to your candidate. So even through things like integration with various ATSs, etc., this is available within 10 minutes for your candidates. The link doesn't expire. They can view this immediately, or 2, 3, 5 months, 12 months down the line. They can come back to this and watch it at any point in time as well. And with that, we'd like to take you through what an actual experience could look like. Cool, yeah, and just want to do a quick check if there's any questions or comments that have come up in the chat, or anything you want to add before I...
Nothing yet, no. No, perfect, nothing yet. We've got about 7 minutes left, so I think I'll leave it with you. Super, thank you.
Cool, thanks, Ian. Great, so I'm going to work through a couple of quick examples of what this could look and feel like. So with SHL experiences, everything that you see on screen can be configured, whether it's the image, whether it's the type of text that we see here, whether it's the color of the button and when we hover over what that looks like, the accent at the bottom. And what we really want to do here is take the SHL out of the experience and really put your brand, the story you want to tell, right up front. So your candidates start building that connection from that first interaction. And if you think of how candidates are applying today, often they're skipping that step of researching the company or going into depth in terms of what you do. This is maybe that first point of interaction. And here we really want to make that big splash so that they connect to your brand as quickly as possible. In terms of what they'll see once they click continue, this is the kind of layout and format that we have. So we call this kind of the candidate's to-do list. You can also rename this, but it's a couple of different tiles almost that they can then work through that allows them to really understand what your business is about, the experience, in terms of what the company entails, what the role or program entails, what the assessments will be, and what the process looks like. So here, as an example, this is one of the default ones that we have for our managerial solution. So you'll see the wording is very much manager focused here. But in terms of these tasks, you'll see something like our philosophy on management, what a day in the life of the manager looks like. We can actually include full-on psychometric assessments here from our range of cognition, personality, our video interviews, etc. So you can even schedule an interview directly from the platform as a candidate. Once we have those slots on your end, we're quickly able to do that. And just by clicking on any of these tiles, you'll see there'll be, let's say, a quick video. So I'm just going to mute this and quickly play this. Here again, you can talk about what is it like working at your company? What do we stand for? What are our values? You can really make this a realistic preview in terms of what to expect in the role, as an example. And once your candidate's gone through in any of these tiles, you'll see there's a little tick that shows up here. You know they've completed it. If for any reason they have connectivity issues or things like that, they can immediately come back and continue where they left off. And something we didn't mention up front is this is also mobile enabled. So this can be completed on any device, whether it's a phone, a tablet, a laptop. It will then scale according to what you're using. And again, here you can really set up this workflow the way you want it. We can build in things like automatic assessment hurdling as well. So as an example, if you have a screener assessment right up front, based off a set cut score, we can then eliminate candidates from the process there and exit them through a very nice video feedback tile as an example, but they won't see the full workflow then. So there's a couple of ways we can configure this around a multiple hurdle kind of setup. Just jumping to another look and feel, so home produce that we saw. So this is for one of our retail or call center simulations. You can also then see, and I'm just going to zoom in a little bit, things about like hearing from our team, getting to know you can be a simulation. So whether it's for call center or specific skills, you can also then elicit feedback directly from your candidates through this kind of loop. So tell us about this experience. Did you enjoy it? What did you like? What didn't you like, etc. And that can be video or text as an example. And all of these are just quick examples of what they look like in terms of what we can actually create for you. So there's a lot of customization and flexibility here that really speak to, again, your brand, what you want to show and the story you want to tell. And just for I know we only have 3 minutes left, I want to show a quick view of what that live and personalized video feedback looks like. So on completion of all assessments within 10 minutes maximum of completing those, and that's with ATS integration as well, this is what your candidate can then see.
Sky, hi. Welcome to your personalised assessment feedback. We want to understand how you prefer to work. To achieve that, we asked questions about how you see yourself and how you relate to others. From 8 key work behaviours we've identified, you are a creative thinker, a dependable organiser, and a decisive leader.
Cool. So just a very quick preview of what that looks like. You'll notice in the narrative there, it's all strength-based feedback. So regardless of how your candidate performed, they're going to get something back that can, again, enable them on their journey. This is coupled with development reports that we can also automate based on the hurdle they are in and how they then scored in the process. And we can always schedule that for let's say, a week after they completed assessments, etc. But this personalized video feedback is available almost instantly as soon as your candidate completes all of their assessments. Just jumping back to the last slide for us. And here we really are backed by a massive team across the world, so over 300 people scientists operating in over 150 countries in multiple languages with a very high net promoter score. We can support you in a variety of different ways. And that's the last slide from our end. Charmaine, sorry, I see your hand is up. Yeah, if you have a question or comment, please go ahead.
Thank you so much for the informative session. Much appreciated. I'm asking a question as a candidate. I attended one of your interviews or one of your assessments, and only to find out that I did not go through that process. The session did not have a feedback session. Therefore, for me as an external candidate, I wouldn't know what I did wrong and what I need to rectify for future. And I tried to do like outside assessments outside of SHL. The service provider was SHL, but I tried to do online assessment practices prior to the initial assessment. And only to my surprise that when I did the initial assessment, it was like I'm doing something foreign. I didn't know how, but yes, I'm just asking if there's maybe a demo or some sort of practice that can be done within the SHL platform that we can practice beforehand. Thank you, Chair.
Absolutely. I'll hand over to you also to just comment on it, but I know we do have a platform that allows our candidates to do practice exercises beforehand to familiarize yourself with the tool. But in the actual assessment process itself, Charmaine, to your point, what you are able to do is practice before starting the actual test as well. So there's a variety of different ways that we do support, getting comfortable and familiar with the system, etc. But before actually taking the assessment, you'll also have a practice exercise. Ewan, I don't know if you've got that link handy, perhaps, where that practice.
Yeah, not with me at the moment here, but it's shldirect.com, and also in your actual assessment page where you do the assessment, there's also a support button. If you click that support button, or help button, that'll also take you to that exact same shldirect.com page, which is separate to the instructions example questions. So there's definitely a couple of areas where one can practice before you do the assessment. Super. Thanks, Cindy Google. Any other questions? I see we're a little bit over already. Any other questions? Charmaine, Lloyd, Susan, Hanli, Bulelani?
No questions.
Super. Thanks, Hanli.
I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Bulelani. Awesome.
No questions. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Susan. Thanks, Riku. Appreciate it then for hosting us. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Sohail.
Good afternoon further. Cheers.
Thank you.
you.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye.